What's up, Wisconsin? From the Inside Wisconsin studios, Trevor Thomas, John Anderson. I like the D3 love. This is a UW Platteville. Every day is a great day to be a Pioneer. What are you rocking there?
Look, I'm in the Eau Claire Blue Gold. I don't know what a blue gold is, but God bless them. I think it's great. So, I'm a big fan of all the Wisconsin schools, whether it's Madison, Wisconsin Dash, Eau Claire, Platteville, Stout, River Falls. I'm in Parkside.
Tell me you have a shirt from Milton College.
I don't. I don't know I don't know that other than maybe customizing one of your own, that's available, seeing as the campus bookstore closed in 1984.
Defunct. That's our guy today, Dave Krieg. Milton College, the now defunct Milton College, but his career was not defunct. 19 seasons.
No, and listen, he's a humble guy. He's an excitable guy, but and he'll probably downplay his career. He was really great. Like, he's one of the guys that is he's a top 20 all time in touchdown passes. Mm-hmm. He's got a win-loss record that's enviable, right? I think he won 99 games as a starter, very close, and it's 25, 30 games above 500. He was a really, really great quarterback. For the Seahawks for a long time, and then bounced around late in his career, but started at these places. He wasn't just a journeyman backup. He went and he played in Arizona and started there, in Detroit and Chicago and some of these places. So it's amazing because obviously you can't read his name without saying Dave Krieg from Milton College. Like, it's just attached to his name, always will be. But he was a great football player. And he is a great Wisconsinite.
Yeah, he is. He's sitting in the middle of the woods. Let's do this. Dave Krieg on Inside Wisconsin.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Aaron's Company.
All right, J.A., this is the first time this has happened. That is NFL veteran Dave Krieg. Wisconsin boy, 19 seasons. We're going to let him talk in a second, but this happened this morning. I'm getting ready for the day. It's 8:25. My phone rings, and it is a Phoenix number.
Yep.
We're talking to Dave Krieg today. He lives in Phoenix. I answer, and me and Dave Krieg are now hunting best friends. I'm going to go to his place on Monday.
Yes. I like
can't make it up.
That's a true story.
Good. You guys can have it. And after you shoot something or catch something and you dress it out and you got it all packed, just send me a little.
Let me just say something to hunting people, because I know a lot of gals that don't like hunting, because I live in Phoenix and I've lived in Seattle and they don't know nothing about it. But the tradition here in Wisconsin is people go out and hunt. But I don't think people just go out. Yeah, they want to get some meat for their freezer. I get it. But it's generational. I mean, when you go to a game, there's no other stadium when you go to the game and they're wearing orange, right? And their team colors are green and yellow. So it's a tradition here. And I think that people, they love the opportunity to be able to, they appreciate the deer and all that stuff. It's not just about killing animals, but it's a generational family thing. And it's part of Wisconsin.
You're correct. I've never seen a game in Seattle where all the 12s are decked out in their blaze orange.
Is that crazy? I played in a lot of stadiums, and I'll tell you what, the other thing too, I came to a game, I'm getting off track. I came to a game before COVID. The Seahawks played the Packers in Lambeau, and I was able to talk to Russ Ball, who is now, he does the contracts and all that, the money stuff, and I got a hold of somebody in Seattle, and I got two of my friends, Lance Lyon and Max Muzanowski, onto the sideline. But I got out of the car and I'm wearing my Seahawks stuff, and they go, "Are you lost?" I didn't even take 2 steps, and they said, "Are you lost?" I'm like, "No, I'm looking for my friends. I used to play." I didn't even say I'm Dave Krieg. I used to play. I knew I was in the wrong area, and I found my friends. But I got them on the field. It was such a cool thing just to get your high school buddies on the field of a playoff game that they, back watching Bart Starr, that, John, Willie Davis, Willie Wood, all that stuff. Anyway, carry on with the show.
All right, very good. I'm going to interject this small personal anecdote about Russ Ball. When I ran at the University of Missouri, he was in charge of the weight rooms.
Yep.
He was the strength and conditioning coach at Mizzou when I was running there.
So him and Dave, listen, no, let's go with that. So Dave Redding, when I was in Kansas City, Dave Redding and Russ Ball, I went there in my 12th year, and they got me into strength and conditioning. I'm lifting weights with John Alt and Zot and all these big lifters, and it gave me another 7 years thanks to Russ Ball and Dave Redding. I always tell them that.
So real quick, just tell the people where you are right now, because quite frankly, that's a heck of a shot, Trev. Give them the wide shot and let's just look.
Beautiful.
I'm jealous.
So I took a good 25 minutes, kind of like looking for a stand location in the woods, and I put my camera position so you can see the Wisconsin River. My cousin Mike Hack got me a place that the Sand Valley golfers play on, and I bought some land up here. And now I'm on the Wisconsin River, right next to Nakusa, around the Wisconsin Rapids area, and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
Do I need 19 years in the NFL and that pension to afford that place? Or
no, you have to have a cousin. You have to have a good cousin.
Okay.
You have to have a good cousin. He works for Central Wisconsin Homes Incorporated and Cranberry Creek Game Birds. So not only did I release 400 muskies the other day in here, and I told the lady I've touched more muskies than I've ever caught, but I released them for the Muskie Club, Consolidated Muskie Club. But at his game farm, we had 506 Hungarian partridge. We had to net them and put them into crates, and then he sends them off to South Dakota. So that's the beneficiary of it. It's not because of NFL stuff, I don't think.
Wow.
Yeah, we got to ship them because they can't be trusted to fly in their own.
I hear you. That's a good one. Kenny Bain. That's what he would say too.
So speaking of Kenny and Trevor's introduction, when was the last time you were introduced by Trevor that wasn't followed by Dave Krieg from Tiny Milton College? Like
right.
That was your last name throughout your entire NFL career.
I didn't really think too much about it, but I'm kind of proud of it. You know, like we were talking earlier, I got to meet guys like John Elway and Dan Marino and University of Pittsburgh and Stanford and other quarterbacks like Sean Salisbury went to USC. And I keep thinking, well, if you guys can't beat me out, I went to Tiny Milton College. You know, what does that make you all? But it's cool though, John. I'm telling you, I went to Milton College. I made it in the NFL. I mean, I wouldn't want it any other way, especially the way it turned out. I love it.
So take us through that. How does a guy come out of an NAIA school and find his way? First off, let's forget trying to get the starting job away from Jim Jones. How do you just find your way onto a roster?
Right. So like I was telling Trevor earlier, where I bought this land is real close to where I was born. I'm 40 minutes from where I was born. Auburndale is only maybe 15 miles from here. I went first, second, and third grade. And then Rothschild is only like 40 minutes away. I played high school at DC Everest, and I was honorable mention defensive back. We ran the Power I. The Wisconsin Valley Conference was a running conference, all defense. So I get done with high school, and it's about July 4th, and my dad says, I'm at the paper mill. Where else your paper mill? Thinking I'm going to work here like everybody else does. And he goes, are you thinking about college? So I went to Milton for 4 years. I was a 7th-string quarterback at Milton, and then by my freshman year, by the 5th, 6th, 7th game, they started me, and I got to play 4 years. And then Rudy knew a guy in Seattle, one guy. It's like that Eminem song. I had one chance, one opportunity. I knew one guy, and I flew to Seattle. I never flew on a plane before, and I'm 21 years old, flew on a plane to minicamp, came back, went to training camp, and then I told my dad, I said, guess what? They gave me a name on the back of my jersey, and I got the best seat in the house, I told them. So I made it.
I love that.
I was 7th string in Seattle. I was 7th string in Seattle, too. That was pretty cool.
How the hell? 7 strings? I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, we don't even...
Yeah, back then they had bigger rosters. We played a lot more preseason games, and I got the mop-up duty. You know, you commentators, we're talking about that, John. Oh, you see a guy come in the fourth quarter. You don't imagine how scared he is. He's been sitting there for 3 quarters watching these guys, Bill Baumhauer and the Bow Campers, beat the hell out of each other. And you're seeing guys bigger than you've ever seen in your life, running faster than you've ever. And now you get to go in and try to prove yourself. I was scared out of my mind. That fourth quarter, when those guys go in there, that's like they're playing the Super Bowl, and they can't make a mistake, you know. And I fortunately threw some passes, and they went to the right guys. And then the second year, after flying in a plane for maybe 10 times, I'm playing my first start against the New York Sack Exchange with Mark Gastineau and Joe Klecko. So, and now here I am sitting in the backyard of a beautiful place, Whispering Pines on the Wisconsin River.
That's a pretty blessed existence.
Yeah, this is real life.
Could you have made it today, not because of your ability, but under limited rosters, because they only bring in like 90 or whatever, and only 3 preseason games? If you were in the same situation today, is the opportunity there for Dave Krieg to make a roster?
No, it's a lot less. Now, Trey Lance is a outlier because he did come from a small college, but that's not even as small as I came from. But today with, it's how I've watched these specialist camps for quarterbacks and specialist this. And if you're not the top elite, then you almost feel less than, because you're not like, you feel like Kirk Cousins, John, like we were talking about. You don't feel as good as those other guys, but eventually as you grow, you might have a chance to play. but they just go on potential basically right now, and analytics, I guess.
Yep.
So you're on your way to Seattle. Tiny Milton College, the now defunct, right? That's what everybody always says.
Another good one, yeah. Tiny and now defunct. I don't even know what defunct was. I still don't look at.
So, did you feel at home in Seattle? Because I've been to Seattle once, and it kind of feels like Wisconsin. There's a lot of what's behind you.
Seattle, yes, it's very, very similar. I mean, I know they say liberal and all that because of downtown Seattle, but you go to the eastern mountains, east of the Cascades, and you got people that are farmers, granaries. I mean, when I practiced at Eastern Washington University, those fields were immaculate. Wheat fields were all around you. They didn't have many trees, but they all love the Seahawks and they love their football. So those people, they're like Wisconsin people, and Seattle loves their, especially when they're winning. They're great fans, and it's very similar to Wisconsin. Yeah, it's good people.
Yeah.
You won there a lot, right? I mean, when Chuck Knox takes over, he's kind of the guy that I think elevated you into that. But you guys were really good.
You know, I got to tell you, Johnny, you're talking about you were at Missouri and you had these jobs. There's so much luck involved in being at the right place at the right time. And when Chuck first came there after we let go of Jack Patera, God rest his soul, he's a good dude. Then Chuck came in and he had a history of winning and hit your belt up and working hard, wishing won't. And hard man comes hard down a hard road. This Pittsburgh coal mining guy, he brought this attitude in there that we were going to win. And then Reggie McKenzie looked at the schedule and said, well, we're going to beat this team. Like we were just, 7-9 the year before. And Chuck came in there. He started Jim. Then halfway through the season, put me in. And then we went to the dang AFC championship, John. So now I've flown on a plane maybe 25 times and I'm playing against Dan Marino in AFC in an AFC game. We lost to the Raiders in the AFC championship game. I mean, it was just amazing. Chuck Knox was a great coach. That's a Hall of Fame guy right there too. 3 different teams he's taken to championship games, right? 3 different teams. That's amazing.
Jeez.
And he was sort of really, his MO was right ground Chuck. He liked to run it right. Yet he lets you throw it around pretty good. I don't know if it was because of you or Largent or what.
No, John.
His MO a little.
Yes, you remember we had Kurt Warner, and I'll tell you what, I played with Barry Sanders, I played with Marcus Allen, I played with other fast backs, but Kurt Warner from Penn State, when I handed off to him the very first time, I was a backup quarterback, but I got a chance, and it's like he took my arm. From the I formation to get that much speed and that much power, he wasn't even looking at me. His eyes were like this. So Kurt Warner was our running back in '83. He was AFC Rookie of the Year, probably should have been the MVP of he carried our team. Our defense was good and getting better. And then Kurt got hurt the second year. First game of the season, makes a cut, blows out his knee. So now we start throwing around. Now I go to the Pro Bowl. So '85, they say we're supposed to go to the Super Bowl, and we go 8-8. We were 8-8, John. That was so depressing. But Chuck was able to adapt. He was very able to adapt.
So you spent a lot of years in Seattle, and you were telling me earlier that you really loved football from watching the Packers as a kid, right? Lombardi and just that era.
Yes.
How did you feel the first time you walked into Lambeau Field as a professional football player?
Trevor, I cannot tell you. I still get goosebumps sitting there watching a black and white TV in Rothschilds, a little bit in Auburndale, with the antennas and the tinfoil, making sure the game would come in good. And then my dad would yell at the quarterback like everybody else does. It's all the quarterback's fault. But I would see the receivers and running backs and the blocking. And I loved watching Vince Lombardi. I've read all the books about him and how those players listened and loved that man. He worked them to death. And then he got them to believe in themselves and the confidence in that little town in Green Bay. And he was a New York guy. 7 blocks of granite. He was one of them. He made sure everybody knew that. And he came in here and got Willie Wood, Willie Davis, Herb Adderley, one of the best athletes to ever play football, played at Green Bay. I think he was at Michigan State. He was an offensive guy. And then he was a defensive player, one of the best athletes I've ever seen play. And I fell in love with football, and I still love the Packers and all that still. It's amazing what that does to you, man.
So you've got a job to do, but when you walk down onto that field,
yeah, I didn't even talk.
Did you take a minute and at least absorb some of that?
Probably driving into it, but I got to tell you, when you're playing in a game, and yes, a lot of my high school and college buddies were there, and I got to see them, and we won. I think we played at County Stadium the first time. Was the first time I played the Packers, and going into Lambeau the second time was like walking into like you got invited to the Academy Awards or something that's really big, that's a once in a lifetime thing, but you got to focus in on what you're doing, and that quickly happens once you get hit out there. You don't think about your buddies up there, that they're in the highest seats because you're the visiting team, and they tell you that afterwards. But you focus on the game. But I valued playing there. I played there with Detroit. I played there with Chicago, got whooped twice when I was with Chicago by the Packers. I know that rivalry well.
Yep. So I asked John this when he what's that?
I said, you grew up with the Packers. How hard was it to put on a Bears jersey?
Yeah, I had some of my buddies. John Ogiba came down, and I said, hey, you want to come down? Then we'll go deer hunting. I lived in Libertyville, which is in the northern corner of the northern end of Illinois, and I also got a Wisconsin tag. So on Tuesdays, I would go hunt a little bit and then go, and maybe Saturday mornings. And he shot a doe down there, actually. But my buddies, they kind of, I don't know who they cheered for up in the stands. I think they cheered for me. That was different. That was different.
Yeah, I would imagine being a Wisconsin boy and being a Packer fan and then landing in Chicago.
I always wanted to be a Packer. Jim McMahon screwed that up. He knew Mike Holmgren from Brigham Young, and he was with the Browns at the time. And I guess before the game, he went up to Mike Holmgren and said, "You got to get me out of there and get me over here." And you don't have many connections when you're from Milton. There's not a lot of coaches in the NFL that you can go talk to and do that. And I would have come there and played backup quarterback. I would have carried 2 clipboards, and I would have played for just $1,000 a game. Honest to God, even in my 15th year, I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah. Wow. So you were telling me earlier that you landed at Milton because you didn't get any other looks coming out of DC Everest, and you went to UW Platteville and worked out with the Bears when you were a kid.
And no. What happened was after high school, Whitewater did have me come down on a Sunday. Who's there on a Sunday? Bruce Bukowski was a former lineman from Everest. So I went to Whitewater for one visit on a Sunday, went there and came back, went to Milton. But then when I became an NFL pro with the Chiefs, we practiced in UW River Falls. Now I'm sitting to myself, they had me on the fire truck, Carl Peterson, Marty Schottenheimer, you're from Wisconsin, you sit on the fire truck, which I think was just a bunch of BS. But I'm sitting on the fire truck and I'm waving to people like, what the hell, I'm just here to play football. But I got to practice on their game field that they never recruited me for in college. And then I went down to Platteville and practice on their home field too. And I'm like, these guys didn't recruit me. And it's so weird. I'm playing NFL football, practicing on your home field. I thought, how karma's different, isn't it? But I'll tell you this, if I'd have gone to a school, even a big one like that, I was still young, maturity wise and physically, I wasn't ready yet for that. So I think Milton ideally was the right place for me, believe it or not. Milton, I love it. I still talk to Rudy. I still talk to, Dale Race. I still talk to Kevin Gels, Tim Casey, Kevin DeKester lives in Taos, New Mexico. All my Milton guys, we get together, play some golf in the summer. We're getting a little bit older, but we love being that we all went to Milton College. And my high school buddies are just up the road. So I'm back home and I love it.
Who do we play if I'm in Milton? What am I playing? Am I playing like Beloit or Co or Cardinals?
You're playing Lakeland. You're playing Ripon. You're playing Maranatha. You're playing University of Chicago. Those are some smart people, not good football players, but very smart. We played Eureka, which is northeastern Illinois, where Ronald Reagan went to college. And then we played UW-Stevens Point twice. We lost both times, but it was the fourth quarter. They just wore us down. We only had 50 guys on our team, and they had like 125 on the sideline.
People ask me all the time what my favorite episode is, J.A. We're 15 minutes into this. This is my favorite episode. We've only just begun. This guy's in the middle of the woods. This is phenomenal. Let's take a break. We're going to come back. Dave Krieg, 19 seasons. You can take the boy out of Wisconsin, but clearly you cannot take the Wisconsin out of the boy. We're back in a bit. Inside Wisconsin.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Aaron's Company.
Hey, remember to subscribe on YouTube, leave a review, smash the like button, just get with us. John, we know that there's other NFL stadiums in the league that are clearly jealous of Lambeau Field. Have you been to other stadiums in the NFL where they just have nothing like what we experience here at Lambeau Field?
Yeah, most of the time it's sort of more on the outside than the inside, but I've been to quite a few of them that were there. Right now I don't even recognize what Soldier Field is, right?
Yeah.
Jerry World's great, bells and whistles and all those other things. But by the way, the last time I was in Dallas, the kids, we were going to my sister-in-law's, and we were driving by Irving, where the Cowboys' old stadium, Texas Stadium, used to be.
Yeah.
And you can still see where the land was in the old parking lots. And I pointed out to my kids, I said, you see, that's where Texas Stadium used to be. I said, and if you can see, they left the hole in the roof. The rest of it's gone, but they left the hole in the roof. So, anyway, but yeah, I mean, listen, people are jealous of, I don't know, jealous is quite, they're envious is probably a better word of what, listen, it's a unique place. It's a unique fan base. It's a unique team. It's a unique game day experience.
It reminds me that some light beers are envious of our friends at Miller Lite because Miller Lite actually tastes like beer, as if beers could be jealous of each other. I clearly know. I've been to Buffalo. That was it was a good stadium. I've been to Detroit. I think those are the only two. Oh, Seattle. I actually was at Seattle, and I bumped into Kenny Mayne on the field. I'll tell you that story later. Back to our friends at Miller Lite. Reminder that Miller Lite actually tastes like beer. It's the light beer that all the other light beers wish they were. To get Miller Lite, that actually tastes like beer, delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Inside Wisconsin, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly.
I got it at the dry cleaner the other day.
You took it with you to the dry cleaner. They didn't sell it to you there. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. We're back inside Wisconsin between segments with our guy, Dave Krieg. Time for another top 5 list presented by the University of Wisconsin-Platteville's agriculture program. It's Wisconsin's best. UW-Platteville offers an affordable, top-rated program that prepares graduates to be leaders in the fields of agriculture and agribusiness, contributing to our state economy and making our communities even stronger. Find out more at uwplatt.edu. All righty, J.A., time for
First
this
off,
week's top
that
5
shirt
list.
that you have from the Pioneers right there doesn't seem to be farming shirts, right? It doesn't have a tractor. Doesn't scream agriculture to me.
No, retro. I think it's retro.
Disco ball.
All right, so now I'm going to get quizzed. What could go wrong?
I don't know if it's a quiz. We're just going to throw them out there because I've known I kind of learned that when we try to quiz you on stuff that some things happen before your time and then you just give up. So, but I thought in honor of Dave Krieg as a great NFL player and a Wisconsinite in the NFL, we're not like California and Texas. We're not like Florida. We don't crank them all out. I want you to give me the guys who have played the 5 guys, top 5 games played in the NFL by dudes from Wisconsin.
From Wisconsin.
From Wisconsin. The guys who played
here. They're born here. They're from here.
They're from Wisconsin. They didn't necessarily play at Wisconsin or a Wisconsin school. They're just from Wisconsin. So, I'll just say, number 6 is Jim Otto, the great center from the Oakland Raiders. Remember, he wore 00. You don't, but that's okay. So he was 6 at 210. So we got to go more than 210. That's a lot of games.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Dave Krieg.
Number 5, you got it. Perfect. 213.
Yes, let's go.
After this, you're going to be a mess.
Mark Tauscher.
No. Not close.
Really? Joe Thomas?
No.
Hmm.
No. Played a lot of years, but no.
So
I'll give you a hint. The 2 and 4 are brothers.
You might be surprised to know that hint doesn't do me any good. Okay. Give me number 4. Give me number 4.
4 is Dan Turk. Milwaukee. Yep. Big. He 218 games, and his brother was a great punter. Matt Turk punted forever.
There you go. Okay.
He's second on the list at 244.
All right. That I got. Good.
So 5, Krieg. 4, Dan Turk. 3 is a kicker. Mostly with the Cardinals. Madison. Straight ahead, dude. Back in the day.
Go.
He kicked straight ahead. You'll never get that. Jim Bakken, 234.
Jim Bakken.
And number 1,
Turk.
Number 1, you should know if we give you enough clues. With 245 games.
Let's try. Keep going.
4 Super Bowl wins with the Steelers. Hall of Famer. Did I say he's from Tomahawk?
No. I should really know this.
Steelers center from the Steelers Golden Age.
Just tell me.
The great Mike Webster.
Got it.
You should look him up when you go. Mike Webster.
Those
are the 5 guys that have played the most games in the NFL.
Do you know the Tomahawks mascot?
I don't.
I think they're the Hatchets.
I just know that John Bear was from Tomahawk, who was a great high jumper. Won Big Ten titles at the University of Wisconsin. And when I called down and asked the guy at Wisconsin, "Hey, could I run?" Right? He said, "No, we got a guy. It was John Bear from Tomahawk, Wisconsin."
Mike Webster.
Mike Webster. Listen, a lot of people are watching. All I'll tell you is Dave Krieg knows who Mike Webster is, and I'll drop my voice there.
We are back inside Wisconsin. Trevor, John Anderson, and that is Dave Krieg, Wisconsinite, of course, 19 seasons in the NFL. All right, Dave, so this is episode number 40 of Inside Wisconsin, and I have sat through about a dozen track and field conversations that I really, really, really struggle to have a conversation about. The tide is about to turn. Let's talk some bow hunting, shall we? Some hunting, some things that maybe John has never been in a deer stand. So I did get the call from you this morning. I do really think that I'm coming out there on Monday to walk a new property, which we're not going to tell. That's like hunting 101. You don't tell people where your spot is.
You're welcome. Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait. So talk to us about hunting, man. Like, clearly you have a passion for it. You're welcome.
No. I'm like the Kenny Mayne of hunting. Like for 19 years, I didn't hunt, right? So now you have to take your bow release, John. That's what you pull back, and that's what you pull the string back with. These guys aren't deer hunters like the old men were back in the old days and have a recurve. They pull back with this release. You got to make sure you take your release. You got to take this doe can with you. You got to take this buck grunt with you. You might have to take your rattling horns. You got to make sure you take your harness. So you know me, John. I mean, I can remember a few things. And then by the time you get out to the woods, you go, oh, shoot, I got to bring my bow and my arrows, right? John, you get up in your stand. I'm sure this has happened to a lot of people. You get up in your stand, you're all set first time or second time. And then you're sitting there for a while and you go, oh, I better pull my bow up. I mean, there's so many things, Johnny, that happen are so funny. Hunting is just sitting out there. You enjoy it. But all the things of setting up a ladder stand and pushing it up there and yelling at your brother who's still the same age as you, and you're calling each other all kinds of names like you were 6 years old. You dumbass, Dave, you can't do anything, can you? You know, because I don't know how to do all that stuff. And it's just hilarious. And then you put it up there. But then when you see a deer, John, you're like, your heart starts going. It's almost like the first time you've been on ESPN or something. Holy crap, there's a deer. And it's a doe, right? And then sometimes you get a white one. We have albinos up here. And then, John, when you see a deer with horns, oh, my God, you drop your bow. It's just the most coolest thing. So go ahead, Trevor. You can ask me some more questions.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good bow hunting up here. I mean, there's a lot of good bow hunting.
I need to defend myself a little. First off, you're right. I've never been in a tree stand, but I've climbed a damn tree. So that's the same thing.
No, it's not.
I have not. While I have not actually hunted, I lived in Wisconsin, right? So all my friends disappeared in the woods around Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I know. When you said you were in the woods, what did I ask you? I told Kenny it either had to be a bow season or some black powder muzzle.
Muzzle loader. That's right. Yeah, I don't do that.
I know my way around a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
I know some of it. Actually, my father was a wonderful hunter, and when he passed away, I was very young. I have both of his rifles.
Nice.
And I wrote the serial numbers, and I wrote to Remington, and I wrote to Winchester, and they said to me, I would not shoot those because if something happens to them, we don't have a part. We don't. So they've sat, they are reassembled, but for years I had them in grease and flannel and packed away.
You take care of your stuff that you don't use better than stuff I use.
So, unlike Trevor, who has no idea which end of a shot put to throw. So I will defend myself. What is that? Yeah, what is that? That looks like the.
That's nice. That's a European mount. That's a European mount. That's
so
nice.
I did this myself.
Really?
That thing looks little. That looks like the thing in The Grinch Who Stole Christmas when he just put the antlers on the dog and sent him down the hill.
A buddy of mine gave this deer to me. I didn't shoot this, but I did do the European mount on it. I wanted to try it. So I picked it up after he had it all tagged and everything, and I actually made my own European mount, and it's been on the set ever since.
Hey, let me ask you this, Trevor. This will screw up Johnny really good. What do you think that score is? Like 125, maybe 120, 130?
Maybe 120.
Yeah, now that I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's
a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that much about deer hunting, but I sure love it. The older I get, though, I'm getting scared of heights. When you're up in a stand, John, 17 feet, I wish I could stand up, and you're up there, and yes, you're hooked in behind you with this harness, but it doesn't have tension that you can feel. So sometimes I put something on my waist. But when you get older, you're like, oh, it's not that your balance is bad. It's just that you know how much it's going to hurt when you fall. So you get really scared up there, 17 feet. So they have enclosed blinds, John. I would love if you ever came back to Wisconsin, you could sit in one of them redneck or muddy blinds that are enclosed. We could play cribbage and see a deer and then shoot it and go back to playing. And knobs is yours, John. That's what we do.
I can play cribbage too. I'm
Yeah.
right there. I did that one
You're
time.
a deer hunter. You're a deer hunter.
Somebody won a baseball game years ago when I first got here, and it was 15-2, and I said it was a cribbage score, and no one knew what I was saying. When I said they won by a cribbage score, it was 15-2.
My trail camera literally just went off. My trail camera just sent me a picture.
Oh, yeah. Let me look at one, too.
How about you worry about the show, Trevor, and you can go shoot something later.
We're talking hunting. All right, Johnny, you go. Back to whatever.
Well, did you ever take Steve Largent hunting? Steve doesn't seem like a tree stand guy to me.
So I got a funny story for this. So Trevor, you remember a thing called earn a buck? You have to shoot a doe first. This would have been back in 2002, 2003. I'm hunting Buffalo County, John. So Buffalo County is like Lambeau Field of deer hunting. There's only like 20 counties in the whole United States like it. They have these big, huge bucks. So I'm sitting up there, earn a buck. It's my second day there. I wanted to shoot a doe the first day, and I didn't in the second day. And then at night, I heard this commotion. I looked to my right, and there's the biggest deer I ever shot. It was 175 is what it scored, Trevor. I know because the guy at Cabela's shot it. I talked to him about it. But anyway, it was bow hunting, and this deer comes by, and I'm like, oh, geez. And then it stopped at 12 yards, 15. I let it go. It was scored 175. I let it go. And I called Steve Largent the next day. Steve's a big born-again Christian. He's a congressman, 3 terms. He ran for governor of Oklahoma, and he has deer hunting land in Tulsa. But I called him after this. He was still a congressman. I said, Steve, are you familiar with earn a buck? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, I had the biggest buck, and it walked by. And he goes, Dave, I would have shot that deer in a heartbeat. I said, wait, you're Steve Largent, this big born-again Christian. He goes, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission, he said. I should have shot the deer, and then I probably could have shot a doe the same day or the next morning, and I might have been okay, but I just didn't want to break any rules. And I'm glad I'm saying that on this show.
So we're very much inside Wisconsin, but I am interested in a couple of guys you played with. One of them is Steve, because I think people forget, like when he retired, he led the NFL all-time in catches, yards, and touchdowns, and now he's like 30th in catches. And tell me how good Steve Largent was. So
to put it in context for people right now, so you look at Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp looks small to people, but he's 6'2", and he's probably 210. Steve Largent was at the best 5'10" on a good day and probably weighed 190, 185. He would run down the field with all this zigzag, make it look like he was going inside, and then fake it, and then go inside. So if they double covered him from the inside and out, he said, I'm just going to go against one guy. They can't really double cover him if he's running a route off of one guy. So he made it simple. He was so competitive, so studious. He'd go out and practice routes, and he had this incredible desire to be as good as he could be. There's something up with his personal family upbringing and stuff, and he is such a good dude and such a great receiver, and he gets overlooked now with all these guys catching 100 passes every year, but he did it consistently, and I'm so glad I was able to throw to him.
So, Trev, Steve Largent went to the University of Tulsa. I worked in Tulsa many years and got to know Steve.
Jerry Rome. Great quarterback. He was my quarterback coach. He was my quarterback coach in Seattle, thank goodness. Steve went to Dallas from Tulsa, and then Jerry Rome was the runner-up for the Heisman under John Ewart back in '67. He told me this a million times. And Jerry was up there, and Jerry is the guy that says, I think this kid has a shot. Jerry Rome did. So he gave me a chance, and then Steve was there. But Steve and Jim were best friends, John. I mean, it's like, holy cripes, here I stick going there, and I probably smell like I had a couple old styles and not holy water, and it was a whole different thing when I was playing quarterback than them. But Jerry Rome loved me and thought there was something good about me, and I got to play for Jim's coach in college and beat out his best friend. It was a weird dynamic, man.
Wow. And the other guy I really always was intrigued with, because I thought he was just an unbelievable player, was Kenny Easley.
Oh, Well, you can stop right there. I've written this down. I was going to write a book years ago with Brad Zawek and Brian Leaf. Brian Leaf lived in Rockford. He just passed away. Rick Millette from Green Bay Southwest was my lineman. I talked to him every day in the hospital in Milwaukee. He was right outside of Pulaski High School. He says, that's what I'm looking at is Pulaski High School. And I talked to him, then he passed away in the hospital. But Kenny Easley, let me say this. He just had his little finger cut off. He's been taking dialysis probably for the last 25 years, 3 times a week. He's living in Norfolk, Virginia. He's in the Hall of Fame now. But when I went to Seattle, I wrote this down, the best athlete I have ever played with. And I really realized when he was the best athlete is we would go after, we'd have like they call OTAs or whatever. We would have these practices and we go up to the Kirkland gym and play basketball. And oh my God, Kenny Easley used to play for John Wooden at UCLA. And then I'd play against Eugene Robinson. There's Jacob Green out there. So we had John Elway come in there. I mean, we had some of the best basketball games. And that's when you can really bond with your team. Sherman Smith, Dave Brown. We used to play all the time, but Kenny Easley, he returned punts for us. He could have been a receiver and played safety. He's by far the best athlete overall that I've ever played with. And he's just amazing. I'm so glad you brought that name up, John. And Derek Thomas was another one.
and you're really lucky that he hit the other quarterback and not you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Kenny was vicious. Like he never said it, but he didn't want to be compared to Ronnie a lot. He wanted people to compare them to him.
Wow. So as you're out and about and playing with all these different guys, 19 seasons, you clearly spew Wisconsin. So who are some of the Wisconsin guys that you ran into in your NFL career?
Not very many. I can't really think of a lot. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. Speaking of Heisman Trophy winners, I mean, I played with Steve McNair at Tennessee. I played with Eddie George, 2 guys on the same team. Mm-hmm. And I'm playing in Detroit. And I just thought of this the other day. We were talking about Heisman Trophy winners. You know, I see Robert Griffin on TV, and Gino Toretta's at my house. I got a picture of him having Thanksgiving dinner because he was a young kid. He didn't have nowhere to go. And Sue and I invited him over. And I'm like, yeah, I had Heisman Trophy winners back me up as a quarterback. I always thought that was funny as hell. But the Wisconsin guys like J.J. Watson, Phoenix, but, you know, I probably could go up and see. I'd like to meet him. The guy from Point, that's the hockey player, Joe Pavelski. I'd like to meet him. My kids were hockey players. I don't know how to skate, and my kids love hockey. And now I'm around all these hockey players. They're the greatest kids. Wrestlers and hockey players are the greatest kids. If you ever got a resume and the kid said he wrestled or played hockey, you got to hire him.
Well, it's because hockey players have to get up and they have this crazy ice time at 4 a.m. or 10 at night, so they never feel like they're special, right?
Wait a minute, and neither do their parents, John, because at that age they're not driving themselves to that rink at 5 or 6 in the morning. So you're sitting there watching them and skating around a chair, and I'm like, what the hell are they pushing a chair for? And then they got good. I mean, hey, listen, this shirt I'm wearing, I was down in Pensacola. My daughter lives down in Mobile. And so I said, come on over to Pensacola. Mikey's playing in the playoffs for the Stanley Cup of their league, of the Pensacola League or whatever it was called. And Kenny put this on TV, John. It was the best out of 3. They beat the team on the road, so they're up 1. So whoever wins the second game, you know, it could go 1-1. And in the second game, it was tied, and the puck went over to the left. And you're thinking, oh, my God, it's not even a second. He backhanded it to the center. The guy flipped it in with 0.1 second. And I sent it to Kenny. He put it on ESPN. And we went there, and my son's a firefighter now. But they were, you know, hockey players get after they win the Stanley Cup. I mean, they were raising the cup in the air like a Stanley Cup. My daughter was drinking out of it. She was only like 12 or 14. I don't know what they had in it. And the next day, my son shaves. He had a beard. He had the hockey beards, right? And he shaved half it off, and he went downstairs. What do you guys think of this? And they said, you're going to wear that all day. So my son had a half a beard in Pensacola, Florida. Oh, my God. That was the coolest. I've never been at an event where that was better than any football. I'm just like, oh, I can't believe that just happened.
That's amazing. Tell people, because he is a great fan of Wisconsin, though he's not a Wisconsinite. He's Washington through and through. Kenny loves the Packers. He loves Brett. He loves Aaron. He loves the casino across from the from the airport more than anything when he loves the Green Bay. Give me your favorite Kenny Mayne story, because I mean, he's a hoot and he's a dear friend. I love him to death, but I'm just curious as to just something that maybe strikes you about him.
Yeah, well, Kenny is he's a different cat. He has a different quirky way of looking at things, but he's very witty and he's very smart. It's hard to tell Kenny Mayne stories because actually when a Kenny Mayne story occurs, it just happens, right? And then, wow, did that just happen? We've done so many. Oh, I'll tell you a funny Kenny Mayne story, and has something to do with me. His nephew, I can't remember his name. His nephew's blind, right, John?
Yes.
Yeah, it's his nephew, and I can't remember his name. I should go look it up on my phone, but I won't. So Kenny says, "Can you come down to south part of Seattle?" And they're playing a softball game for blind people. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go out there and help." And I thought, let me try this. And you close your eyes, and the ball's beeping, and I'm like, I can't even hit the ball, and these kids are hitting it. I'm out in the field with Kenny's nephew, and one of the guys is batting because you got to stand next to the blind kid so a little bit so they can hear where the ball is, and you point them in the right direction. And I'm out there, and the first guy took a pitch, John. He didn't swing, and I said, "Good eye." Like that's what you're supposed to say. That's what you're supposed to say. And then the second time it happened, I said, "Good eye" again. And then the kid said to me, "Dave, we can't see." And I'm like, "Oh, that's right." So it wasn't about Kenny. It was about me. It was just funny. It was just funny. So I said, "Good eye," and I'm out in the outfield yelling it like all the people can hear me. That's the NFL. That's the quarterback of the Seahawks.
That's the winner right there. Listen,
That's the guy right there.
That. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Kenny is a good dude. He's always busy. He's always busy.
Busy, generous, funny guy, generous man.
Yes,
Kenny Mayne will see this on Twitter. 100% chance.
I hope so. He always sends me stuff on Twitter. I don't even have Twitter, so I'm like, why are you sending me this? I don't care.
We will wrap it up in a second. Wow, this has been awesome. That's Dave Craig. We are back in a minute. Inside Wisconsin.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Aaron's Company.
Hey, remember to subscribe on YouTube. Leave a review. Smash the like button. Just get with us. John, who used your tickets for the Bears game?
I don't know. I had nobody in my family that wanted them, nobody that took them, so I just put them up, and they were sold off the ticket exchange.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the reason I didn't get to go to the game is because I didn't get
a
a phone call.
You wanted to go to the game. You said you wanted to go to the Cowboy game, and I don't have those tickets.
Okay, here, me and you right now. I want to go to every game. So if there's ever a game that you have tickets for, don't put them on your little ticket exchange thing. Give me a little jingle. We got each other's cell phone numbers. We do this.
I didn't know. I thought you had expressed interest in other things, but okay.
I did. Cowboys game for sure I want to go to. All right. Regardless of that, I actually went and tailgated, though. I did not go to the game, but you cannot miss a Packers tailgate. We actually went down there for 2 hours, did our best to get prepared at Festival Foods, the official tailgating and grocery headquarters of the Green Bay Packers. What's interesting is that half the parking lot is under construction. I feel like they're building underground parking for the players. So they took all the people that tailgate there and shoved them in the grass on the south end zone side of the stadium. Still really fun. Still lots of festival brats and burgers and lots of Miller Lite responsibly. And then we went home.
Half the parking lot, but all the fun.
Half the parking lot, still all the fun.
Good.
That's what a Packers tailgate is with Festival Foods, the official grocery and tailgating headquarters of the Green Bay Packers. I feel like we have some more chances. Yeah, there's a few more home games.
There's a few more games, and I'm just going to say this on the off chance, like we enjoy Festival Foods, but I'm just going to say this: if you don't find what you're looking for, chances are you and Dave Craig are going to go shoot it here in the coming week.
Yes, we are. Can't wait. We're back. Final segment with Dave Craig, John Anderson, Trevor Thomas, a few for me, and then it's lightning round time. All right. When's the last time you were at Lambeau, Dave? You coming back for a Packer game this year?
Well, the last time I was there was 2 years ago at that playoff game. I could have went to the Packers-Bears game, but I don't like sitting in the crowds and all that stuff. I'd rather just watch it on TV.
Yeah, there's a lot of those people right now. Lastly, what's your handicap?
Wow, should I say that out loud? I bet you I'm about a 6 to an 8. Oh, by the way, I just played golf with Chris Mathieson, who almost made it in the NFL. He had a tryout with the Saints and the Giants. Jeff Zalpriester and Dave Richa. At the end of the round, Chris Mathieson asked Richa, like, I think I beat Zoll. And then Richard said to him, nope, you had 107. Zoll had 106. we played at Glacier Woods in Iola. We played forever because it took, that's 213 shots. And then Richard had a 97 himself. There was like 300 and some shots. And it was just so much fun. We talked about stuff, laughed. They both went to school together at St. Therese. I said, were you guys altar boys? Yeah. So I called them the altar boys as they're golfing.
So There's
no way they should have been altar boys. They're the biggest pains in the ass.
So you're close to, you said, some great courses there, right? And Trevor, we've been back, and I've been watching. We played Green Bay Country Club and some of these places, and I just was back. Took my son to college. I stopped at Southern Hills where they had the PGA. But if I could go play one round, like I'd still go back and play like the 9 holes at Village Greens from when I was 8. And I don't know if you're like that at all, but I love to go back and play courses I grew up on.
So last night, listen to this. Last night I was on Bullseye. It's in Rapids. And I said to my brother, he lives up in Minneapolis, Danny, why don't you bring your friends? I've got bedrooms in this place. Bring them down here. Bullseye, Wisconsin Rapids Ridges. Lakes is right across from Sand Valley. But last year, I rented a place from Jeremy Saransky up in Plum Lake on Eagle River. And I get there, and this gal comes up to me. She goes, do you like to golf? And I go, yeah, a little bit. She goes, well, right across Plum Lake is the Plum Lake Golf Course. And John, it's the oldest 9-hole golf course in the state of Wisconsin. And there's a guy up there. His name is Sean. I can't remember his last name. He takes care of it all the time. It's on an old stump field. It's one of the best 9-hole golf courses. And then at 6 or 7 o'clock at night when you're playing, you can see deer walk out of the woods or turkeys. I just had to mention Plum Lake. Those are the cute little courses. I love them. Love them.
Trev, what do you got? You done?
That was it. I got one more.
Okay, go ahead, Trev.
Iola Car Show.
Chet Krause was a friend of mine. They actually put a billboard up on the outside of town, and it said birthplace of Dave Krieg. It's no longer there, but Chet Krause ran Krause Publications, and he ran the Iola Car Show. He just passed away a little bit ago, but I've never been to it, but I was born in Iola. Proud to say.
Yeah, that's cool.
These things happen. You'll never know who might be, when they take it down. Or in Henrietta, Oklahoma, where Troy Aikman grew up, there's a guy, I think his name is Jim Shoulders, a famous rodeo cowboy. And Jim Shoulders is still on all the signs, and Troy's on some of them. It just depends on where you are and who you got.
Do you know Jeff Blond? You ever heard of Mike Churchley, John?
So I don't know Mike, but when I was a kid, he was another one. He was great. He was a Clintonville trucker. Got
3-time All-State, 3 different sports, All-State.
Got drafted by the Rangers, I think, originally. Right. He's still in the Royals organization. He was their bench coach when they won the World Series.
He was their third base coach, and he shows his ring off when he comes up here. He's got a great story about his family, too, but good for Mike Churchley from Clintonville, Wisconsin.
He played on the state championship basketball team with a really good player by the guy named Joe Mall, who went on and played at UWGB. On their 2 teams that were national runners-up under Dave Buss. So I don't know Mike. I just know Mike of him from reading about him in the Green Bay Press-Gazette when I was a kid, because he was in the.
And the Watt name has certainly helped Wisconsin a lot too, and so has Aaron Rodgers.
All right, here we go. We're just going to fire these off quick. First one. This is to settle a dispute between Trevor and I. So you've got a place in Wisconsin. You've got a place in Arizona. Which is worse, really hot or really cold?
Really cold.
Thank you. Trevor, shut up and just keep going. Jim Zorn played for the Packers. He wore number 10 his entire career except when he was in Green Bay. What number was he?
13, Chester Markles.
He was 18.
18, I didn't know that.
Have you ever skied on Rib Mountain?
No, I was so scared. I can't ski and I can't skate. I played basketball in the winter. I shoveled my driveway and got those creases in your fingers from shooting. I never played skating, and I couldn't trust myself unless my feet were on the ground.
All right, 1976 expansion draft. Which safety did the Seahawks take from the Green Bay Packers?
Autry Beeman or John Harris?
They took Al Matthews, number 29.
I didn't play with. I know who Al Matthews is, but he retired before I got there.
Give me the second most
That's
famous.
That's a really stupid question, by the way. Anyway,
second. That was more for me than you. Give me the second most famous person that ever went to Milton College.
Dave Crayfeld played in the NFL for 1 year, as far as that's concerned. But the people made the ultrasound equipment in Milton. That guy is really famous. Okay. I don't know what his name is.
I didn't recognize any of the names. I'm thinking it's you.
The Burdick Corporation. The Burdick Corporation made ultrasound machines, and they They were made out of Milton, Wisconsin, Burdick Corporation. Look up ultrasound. If your wives were pregnant, they've used a Burdick Corporated ultrasound.
Interesting.
Right, ruining baby reveal parties for so long, or I actually made baby reveal parties possible. Good. The Bucks' first training camp in 1968 was held where?
At Milton, and Lou Alcindor was his name, was walking around campus at the time.
That is fantastic. Yes.
Lucius Allen. Hey, wait a minute. Lucius Allen was my favorite basketball player. I wore 42 in high school because of Lucius Allen. He's from UCLA, so was Lou Alcindor. Emerson Boozer, Bobby Dandridge. I got to meet him. He's friends with Kenny Easley. Oscar Robinson, I never met him, but
I wore number 42 too.
Yeah. And John McLaughlin, number 14. I remember all that. Yeah.
Johnny Mack. Yeah, that's fine.
And then Eddie Doucette in the toaster, saying all those things. Bingo, bango.
The sky hook. I love it. Tell me, so you let the 175-point deer walk by. What is the biggest deer you've ever taken down?
So the biggest deer I got on my wall is 142 and 7/8. I have a mule deer that would be bigger, but as far as a whitetail, and I've shot a whitetail in Iowa, Kansas, and then 2 in Wisconsin and 1 in Montana.
And then the last thing I have is you said that you've released more muskies than you caught. Why the struggles catching a muskie? What's your deal?
Muskies they're hard to catch. They're finicky. They eat when they want to eat, but they eat a lot. They're just the hard fish to catch. Ask any muskie fisherman.
I just did. I consider you my authority. There you have it.
I'm not an authority.
Dave Krieg, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you had time. I'm sorry that you now will have Trevor hanging out in your trees.
I'm glad I'm getting to know Trevor. He's going to help me to figure out what I need to do next. I really don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm going to get it done.
Yes. Let's go.
All right, you guys.
Really great to meet you.
Thank you very much, you guys. Appreciate it.
I'd like to point out that I just held my own with a guy that played the majority of his career when I was unable to remember things. That was really fun.
Listen, you got a new bestie. There's a bromance. I'm not going to get in the way of that. You guys, just seriously, wash your clothes in the scent of dough and go out, and I hope you all have the time of your life. Just strap in. I don't want to have you falling down from 17 feet.
I agree with that. So he challenged you. Would you sit in a deer stand? If we got you back here and it was a posh deer stand on Dave Krieg's land, you wouldn't?
Okay, so first off, I don't need a posh deer stand, right? I think that's against the, why would you do that, right? I'm not trying to have, that have you seen my new duck blind? Look, it's got cable. I don't want that, right? I don't need that. No, I don't have an interest, and it's the same thing. And I didn't want to ruin you guys' beautiful moment together. But I wanted to ask him, when he played football, kickoff is 1:00, and the other team was there, and they were ready to play. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. He goes, sits in that deer stand. What time are you going to go out? We're going to go out at, 6 in the morning. We're going to go at 6 in the evening, whatever. There's no guarantee the other team's going to show up.
No, that's true.
You just be sitting there. I got other stuff to do.
I just got another trail cam picture.
And I will say this again, though. Again, I want to be clear. I have no moral objection to it. My brothers hunted. My father was a great outdoorsman and fisher. I think it's great. Go thin the herd. Do it for sport. I love it. It is just not me.
And you like venison, so that's fine. We're on the same page. All right, it is time for another Deeper Roots with Blaine's Farm and Fleet. John, I traveled to Plymouth, Wisconsin. I met Tyler Lidke at Crystal Lake Golf Course. Tyler's 23, and he just bought this golf course. I don't think I could have gotten a loan for $500 when I was 23, let alone $1.6 million.
Well, all I'm saying is that if he needs a partner, A, I'm there, and B, why are we just going to do a short bit on this? We need to get the guy on full on.
That would be, we'll invite him back on. So he and I played a few holes. You'll see it didn't go well. You and I have golfed together. Bloopers galore. Here we go. Deeper Roots inside Wisconsin. Tyler Lidke from Crystal Lake Golf Course.
Drop your voice.
It's another Deeper Roots episode with Blaine's Farm and Fleet. And here we are, episode number 4. Farmers, brewers, hunters, packers, badgers, cheeseheads, neighbors. No matter what name we go by, we are bound together by our roots. These are the people, the stories, and the statriotism from inside Wisconsin. Welcome to Deeper Roots with Blaine's Farm and Fleet. We are here, episode 4, Inside Wisconsin's Deeper Roots with Blaine's Farm and Fleet. My guy Tyler Lidke at Crystal Lake Golf Course here in Plymouth. Tyler, you're 23, man. Like, I've watched some interviews that you've done, and everybody's like, how's a 23-year-old buy a golf course? I couldn't get a bank to give me a loan to buy a golf ball at 23. What's the story?
Yeah, at 18, coming into college or whatnot, I went into college undecided business. Chatted with some local business owners around here and kind of said, hey, what are your thoughts? Here's kind of what I like. I enjoy the inner workings of the business. What do you think? The advice was go get a finance degree. If you can understand the numbers, you'll be able to be successful anywhere. So even with that, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Interviewed with some companies, some were cool, some really were not cool at all. Ended up graduating and a bunch of pieces fell into place and now I own a golf course. It just plays into working hard, surrounding yourself with good people. I was raised with A, good ethics, and B, some awesome role models. So all that you throw together and it's a great recipe for success.
And you saved. You apparently learned how to save money too.
A little bit. No, there wasn't a wad of, hundreds stacked under the mattress, but when you have a great opportunity like this and everything works, you've got a bank that's really awesome and willing to work with you, when you sit down and crunch the numbers, it all works out well.
Yeah, but you're still 23.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with it. You're doing great. It's just the aspirations to, you're a 2-time business owner now, right? This is a bit of a go-getter here.
I try most days.
What is it about golf?
For me, this property, when we walk around or when you look at it, it's gorgeous. It's wooded. There's a river here. We've got ponds. We've got a lot of nature. And being from the area, I golfed here as a kid. It was really awesome. So having the opportunity to explore it or see if it would work, I couldn't pass that up.
You're a Wisconsin boy. Your family's Wisconsin, born and raised. It's pretty cool, man. You're really digging some deep roots.
Yeah, family from the area. My grandparents live just down the street. I live just down the road. I grew up here. I'm still super involved in the Plymouth community, so everybody's just been super excited. The number of people that have found me or approached me outside of being here, like, hey, we're super proud of you, we're super excited about this. It's been overwhelmingly awesome. Crystal Lake Golf Course,
upgrade from Sir Lancelot. What's the story there?
Previous owner, Dale Lancer, great guy, still here. I believe it was a family connection. His last name is Lancer, but talking to the community members, we're right here at Crystal Lake. Lots of neighbors, lots of people that grew up golfing here. They're like, hey, what do you think about changing the name back? Yes, love it. So that's what we did.
I'm expecting to see a knight tucked away in a set of woods someplace. Is there like a guy in armor with a javelin or?
Yeah, he starts at 8. We have him run around.
I think about golf and how I'm not good at it.
Oh, I'm not either.
So connect those dots, right? Like you talked about how the golf industry is like this destination type, you're not the Whistling Straits or even, some of the bigger courses where you would have to get all dialed up and walk in this. What is it about this that you were like, all right, I'm not a PGA certified professional, but I enjoy the business side. I love the way this looks in the morning. Do people ask you about that and go, but Tyler, you suck at golf?
They do. In fact, it's probably one of the most common questions. Do you golf? And the answer is not well. You don't want to watch me golf, but it has provided an awesome opportunity to practice. But more so, like you said, it was going back to the business idea and having an awesome, deep-rooted community. I can't tell you the number of people that have come up, introduced themselves, and said, I learned how to golf here with my grandparents or my parents. I'm 70 years old and I'm still golfing here in leagues. It's incredible.
John Anderson, ESPN Sports Center, he and I have golfed together. We went to Green Bay Country Club together up in the northeast part of the state. And John Buchagros was with us from Sports Center as well, big hockey guy. They tried to fix my swing on like hole number 12 and just gave up. It was just over. So just understand that as we go out on the golf course now and swing some clubs and hit some balls, I'm 6'8". There is a lot of room for error in my golf swing.
So the story is, after closing on the property, we found quite a few nostalgic retro clubs stashed away in different spots.
Wow.
And we've had this idea that maybe next year we should try some type of a 3-club challenge. You reach in, you grab the 3 clubs you picked, that's what you play with. So figured, let's give it a shot.
All right, let's give it a shot. So we're not looking?
Not looking. You can
go
know
first. What clubs are in here, right?
Well, you can kind of feel around, but.
Well, I'm gonna need one of these.
Yeah.
I wanted that green one. Here's this green one. All right, we'll use this.
There you go. This is gonna be awesome.
All right, let's go do this. Okay. Don't hit the tree. No.
Get in.
Oh. That would have been cool.
For a pitching wedge, that's not too bad.
Stay on the green.
Stay. You gotta ring it.
That was awesome, man.
Thank you, sir.
Played a little golf. Got to talk about what got you here. So now, where do you want to go next? I mean, you're in this for the long haul. You've had it for 5 months, but I don't think this isn't a turn and burn thing for you. What's next?
You know, I've got some wants and wishes. There's things that I'd like to change around the course. Kind of put my touch on it, but we want to keep and preserve that community feel. Like I was telling you earlier, we've had people that have been a part of this course for 50, 60 years. How do we retain that? But we also want to start to appeal to sort of that younger generation. And I think sometimes that gets misconstrued as we don't want to see the older generation here, and that's not true at all. But we think the golf game is a game that you can play at any age, and it maybe has a negative connotation towards sort of that older generation. And how do we open that up and make it approachable and feasible to the average us that are not good golfers?
Clearly we are average.
Yes.
That is a good way to put it.
Yep, exactly. So, you know, being able to play into that and let people of any skill set come out and have fun, give them a great experience, that's what we're aiming to do.
I certainly think that you're going to provide a good time. It's a beautiful course. We got to see some of the equipment that you're still using from 1936. It looks like it's from the 50s, right? It really could...
Yep, from the 50s. The course has been open since the late 30s, so it's historic.
Yeah. Well, you got a good thing going, man. I'm really grateful that you invited us out to tell your story. It's all about establishing deeper roots, whether it's in the future or the past, but it's getting after those deeper root stories with Blaine's Farm and Fleet and Inside Wisconsin. This was a perfect opportunity for us to tell your story and then make fools out of ourselves on camera. Better.
Yeah, look at that shot. That was awesome.
Great shot.
Yeah. It's been really awesome. You know, I've got family from the area. Yeah, they're here having fun.
Told you the tree was in play. I can't call you a kid because that makes me sound old, but go ring the bell, man.
That's so far away. I'm gonna get winded.
Yeah.
Nice shot.
Thanks. Oh, I hate that that's gonna make the show. Well, it was fun nonetheless. Here, we're done. Hope you enjoyed episode number 4, F-O-U-R, not F-O-R-E, like when you hit a bad golf shot. Maybe not you, definitely me. It's Inside Wisconsin's Deeper Roots with Blaine's Farm and Fleet. As always, please like us here on YouTube. Smash subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're listening on the podcast side, what's up? Leave us a 5-star review, would you? If you'd like to learn more about Tyler's story and Crystal Lake Golf Course, it's facebook.com/Crystal Lake Golf Course. And if you, of course, have a deeper root story that you'd like us to share, head to the website, fill out the form, farmandfleet.com/deeper roots. All right, off to golf lessons. See ya.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Bay Care Clinic, Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Rolltech, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, Miller Lite, and Aaron's Company.
Shut up and sit down.